Hey guys, welcome back. This week we're going to take a look at what suspension I'm running on the WRX. Kind of a hodgepodge of different generations and their respective parts on this 6-speed swapped 2010 WRX. To get started, I did do obviously a STI 6-speed swap from a 2016 GR-chassis. So basically bought a whole entire kit, which included all 4 spindles, all 4 Brembo brakes, the drive shaft, obviously the transmission, and the rear differential. Everything kind of bolts in, with the exception of the drive shaft and the spindles, and we'll kind of get a little bit deeper into that. So let's start with the front. Front is a hodgepodge of a bunch of different parts. So I have the 2016 WRX electronic power steering. With that, you have to run the same cradle. So WRX, not an STI, the mounting solution for the actual the electronic power steering rack is completely different than the hydraulic setup. So you've got to have the rack, obviously, and the matching cradle. With that, I am running the narrow body lower control arms. Those bolt up just fine. And you have to run the STI spindles if you're running the STI axles. I wanted to keep everything together instead of piecing different hubs, axles, wheels, all the above. So the WRX hub itself will not mount in the STI spindle and vice versa. So you do have to run the STI spindles, which are the same from 08 to 21, I believe. So you've got to have those spindles. You get the 5x114 hub. You can run the STI axles. All 4 wheels are 5x114. So we are running the WRX lower control arm, STI spindle. That means you need the STI coilover package also, because the mounting solution at the spindle is physically wider. Can't run WRX, got to do the STI. With that, since we have that WRX electronic power steering rack, you also get to keep the WRX inner tie rods. So I've got the narrow body inner tie rods. Outer tie rods are the same for pretty much almost all Subarus, so that part is fine. So that kind of stances the front out a little bit just because of the spindles, but it keeps everything the same. All 4 wheels are 5x114, all axles are STI, so it makes your life a lot easier on that. I am using the VA WRX sway bar, which means you've got to come up with a creative solution for sway bar end links. So I came up with my own solution using Heim joints, and I got that to work pretty much where I wanted it to be. I did drill out the holes on the lower control arms to have M10, so we've got the bigger bolts, so we shouldn't have any issues with that. So long as the mounting solution on the actual control arms don't flex any, we should be good. That's it for the front. Drive shaft will not work. You need 08 to 14 STI drive shaft to mate from the transmission to the rear diff. So I had to buy that separate. Rear diff bolted in. Lower control arms, narrow body, it's the same. So I retain those. Spindles, I started with the GR-chassis STI spindles. They bolted up just fine, but it spaced the wheels out about 3/4 of an inch outwards. What I don't know is when I got the kit used, it came with 2 different size spindles. What I'm thinking may have happened was maybe the previous owner got into an accident and they swapped it out with probably 08 to 14 wide body STI spindle. If I had to guess, because driver's side poked out more than the passenger side. So I did take everything apart. We'll get into that a little bit further into the video. I swapped the spindles for the narrow body WRX spindles, everything bolted up, and it brought the wheels in 3/4 of an inch to an inch, depending on which spindle you're looking at. So fitment was perfect. I checked the axle slop, so basically just left the nut off, pushed it in and out at ride height, and it had movement, so we're not bound up against the rear diff, so we're good there. I believe the rear shock coilover is the same for narrow body or wide body, shouldn't matter. Everything worked perfect. So I'm going to show you guys how we took the rear end apart, swapped the spindle, and then got everything installed and torqued down. And we'll show you what the offset looks like and we should be good to go. So stay tuned and we'll get through this. All right, so I did lose a little bit of footage on the other side. I've already got the other side swapped over. We're gonna go ahead and swap the side over. So the reason why we're doing this is the knuckles that I put on here are actually from a 2016 STI, so the GR-chassis, a little bit wider of a stance. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this down all apart, swap out the current spindle for the narrow body 08 to 14 spindle, and then we'll take some measurements before we do so from the subframe to the rotor, and then we'll kind of compare that. The other side was a little bit wider out than this side, so that tells me we've got 3 different sizes of spindles. I don't know if one's from a different setup, maybe the same chassis but wide body on this side, and then the VA on the driver's side. I don't know. So we're just going to pull this off. I've got my 2 originals from this car. We're going to swap it up, but on this side we're going to measure again and then compare the differences. Everything is loose because I didn't torque this stuff down when I first installed it. The car hasn't gone anywhere, so it doesn't make a difference. All right, so just a quick measurement. We're looking at about 10 1/4. That is from the subframe to the face of the rotor. I expect this is going to be moved in probably about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, but we'll go from there. Perfect. So now this whole thing can come out. I'm gonna pull these pins so I don't lose them. That's that. So just make sure your axle boot does not get ripped. You had to replace the whole thing. So we'll have it rest there. Gonna remove this bearing, swap over the spindle. All right, so upper and lower is 90. Lower control arm is 120. Done. All right, so we've got cross member, toe arm, upper control arm, lower control arm, and the coilover. Let's go ahead and pop on the shoes. This can be a little cumbersome. Go ahead and put the pins in. All right, that's all together, bottom's all together. Put the rotor on, pull the e-brake, align everything, make sure we're good. All right, so we're all tight here. We're good. This is where it needs to go. Get some brake clean, just clean this up so I don't have any rusting issues from oils. All right, so before we put the wheel on, let's go ahead and take a measurement on this. We had 10.25 before, now we've got 9.5. So that's 3/4 of an inch. That's gonna move our wheels inwards. So we'll get this bad boy back installed. We'll get it on the ground. We'll check our axle slop. Just make sure we got a little bit of movement in there because we don't want it to bind in against the center diff or the rear diff because that'll ruin some bearings. All right. Look at that. That fitment is perfect. Love it. Now, moment of truth on the axle slop. And I got more than enough. So we're good. I gotta jack this back up, get the axle nut back on, torque it. Well, impact should be good enough. And then we'll stake it again. So let's lift this up. I'm happy. All right, so we've got pretty much all of the rear end buttoned up. We've got the spindle swapped over. We got all 4 wheels torqued. I've got all the axle nuts torqued and staked. Let's take a look and see what the fitment looks like, and we'll go from there. All right, so on the front, you can see it lines up pretty well with the fender on the narrow body. So very happy with that. We are again running the STI spindles on here, so it is spacing it out just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more negative camber if we need to. I did roll these. Actually, I didn't. I thought I rolled the front. I don't know if we'll need to do that. Just a little bit of negative camber and we should be okay. Don't want too much, so if rubbing becomes an issue, we'll address that. But that's just with these daily runners. I have them listed for sale. I'm not 100% sure if I want to sell them. If I get what I'm asking, great. If not, I'll just hold on to them because we've got the Michelin Pilot Sport all seasons, so we can run these pretty much all year round. And then I've got the other factory STI wheels that we can put some drag radials or something on there. So front end, very happy. Rear end, after the swap, we are golden. If you look, the wheel is in just a little bit. And I do have this rolled, so we should have more than enough clearance on here with these. The factory wheels do come in just a little bit more. I want to say these are a 40 offset, and the factory is like 45 millimeters, so we're good there. Same on this side. Everything matches up just as it should. Very happy with that. So I'm glad with how this turned out, happy with that. Everything fits perfect now, so I can run these wheels or factory wheels and we're perfect. So that's what I've got for this week. Appreciate you guys joining us again. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. Drop a comment if you want to see anything different, have any questions. Love to engage with you guys. With that said, we'll catch you next time.